120 seconds. 110 seconds. 100 seconds. 90 seconds. 80 seconds. 70 seconds. 60 seconds. 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
'Hi,
my name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, once again, it is indeed time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J.C. McCauley, along with the champions of talk in Studio 1A. Talk champion Cleo Duke-Wright is in the house. Good morning, Miss Cleo. How are you?
Good morning. I'm pretty good this morning.
How was your week?
My week was like it always is, pretty busy, but we get through. We have smiles. We have as good a time as we can. A lot of work, and we have some joy in between. So I guess it was okay.
A lot of work and a lot of joy.
Yeah,
I like that.
too.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I decided. One of my minister that I worked for one time, he was talking to me about marriage. And he was talking to me about his marriage and sort of the ups and downs. And, he says he comes home before he became a minister, he's an engineer. And when he came home, the wife would have all these complaints, and he was supposed to take care of them, with the kids. And he'd be so tired, and she wanted him to do this and that and the other thing. And so he was very frustrated with that. And I guess him and his wife had a talk, and he wasn't liking marriage very well.
Mm.
And he said to me, I decided to be married. I decided to love my wife and my family and be a family man. That was a decision that I made, So I'm saying I decided, and when to have joy in my week, that's a decision.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want it to just happen, because actually things don't just happen.
Right.
All that stuff that they told us when we were coming up about success, and if you did this and that and you did that, your world would be perfect. It's a decision. My world is perfect because I decide that my world is perfect. And any changes that I have to make, I have to make them. So that's what I decided maybe a couple of weeks ago. Everything is decided, and then you go on. So, yeah, I had a joyful week with myself. I had a joyful week with my family, and I cut on the brakes when I needed to cut on the brakes.
There you go.
And I enjoyed that too.
I like that. That reminds me of a song. It's an old gospel song. So I have decided to follow Jesus.
Yes.
Live my life like a believer. I have decided. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We don't know how much power we have over our lives, do we? We really don't know. We really think that it's supposed to happen. But we are so powerful over our own lives.
I went out yesterday to check the mail, and the UPS guy was across the street. The truck had pulled up, so he's getting out. She says, "Yes, sir." I said, "How's it going?" He said, "It's going great." I said, "Well, amen." He said, "That's right. It's going really, really good." He's walking across the street, and I says, "Well, you go ahead, brother." He says, "Oh yeah." He was happy and you make a decision.
Yes, you
am I going to be happy today, or am I going to commiserate?
If I'm going to be miserable.
Miserable.
That's right. And am I going to look at miserable people be miserable today? Because, I keep telling my son, you have to decide and go forth. So on his miserable days, I just say, Cleo, you are going to have a positive day, and you're not going to look at this. And I go about my business, and pretty soon the things around you kind of pick up. They can't stay down if the person around them is up. It's at least not as down as they started out to be.
I had this. This is from this morning. I posted this. Let's see if I can bring this up on the screen here. There we go. Oops.
Stay away from negative.
Stay away from negative people.
Oh yes. Oh.
Yeah. Stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution.
Yeah. Amen.
Albert Einstein. I saw that. I said, I gotta post this. I gotta post this. Yeah. Stay away from negative people.
Albert Einstein is one of my favorite people.
Yeah, man. Because negative people find a way to
Yes.
I'm hungry. Well, you want something to eat? Why should I have something to eat? And I'll just get full. Well, it's like, really? Goodness.
They have a problem for
We have a
every
problem for
solution.
every solution. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bless negative people's hearts. Yeah. So you gotta live life. You make that decision, and then of course you talked about marriage. So today is 16 years anniversary.
Your 16th anniversary.
16th anniversary. So this is our wedding day. So we don't like celebrate days really, but anniversary is a day that husband school teaches. Always remember the anniversary and always celebrate it, even if she says don't. So anyone that's graduated from husband school understand that if she says, "Well, we don't have to do anything special for the anniversary," you mean don't listen to she doesn't really mean that. So
Well, see, and it's the opposite in my family, because my husband, he'll tell everybody, "Oh, today is my anniversary.
See, I'm
I
like
was
that,
married this day," and I'm sitting there. I may have forgotten it, but he never forgets the day he got married. Never. And he always tells everybody around him what day he got married.
oh yeah, I put it on the Facebook page. First thing in the morning, I jumped up and started sharing on Facebook. I put my
So today is the 23rd.
today is the 23rd of June. I put my my the wedding ring picture up here, and then that's us. We're live, and then two of my favorite songs, Sade, Nothing Can Come Between Us, and of course this is my unofficial wedding song by the band Perry, Better Dig 2. I really want to play this song so bad, except
Can you play it? I mean,
I could play it during the break, maybe.
Oh,
but I can't play it on air because then you get all kinds of issues where they silence the sections of the video and all that.
I was
kind of
thinking
stuff.
about that and going over some stories that I wanted to tell when the beginning of the Zoom that I'm doing, almost there, and I said, do I have to write these people and ask them permission to do?
Oh yeah. Anything that's copywritten, you need
I need to
a release from the copyright holder. Now, of course, in the way most things or more and more things are being broadcast through cyberspace, through online mechanism. As soon as it's on, as soon as you launch it, like the first couple of bars, instant, and the algorithm picks it up, and so you'll get sanctioned. You could get a copyright strike.
All right, but I think it's different for stories because
Oh, you're talking about the actual story.
I'm talking about stories, and the book is copyrighted, and it says you cannot, but
technically
the Ugly Duckling does not have a copyright on it. If you're gonna just tell a story of the Ugly Duckling, and you don't do a word for word. Lots of people write stories on the Ugly Duckling and Little Red Riding Hood and a lot of stories. Unless they're I don't understand unless they're original stories that you have created yourself and published. Why would there be a copyright on the Ugly Duckling?
Well, someone wrote whoever authors a work owns the rights to that copy. They own rights to the work. So
they own rights to how they told the story, but they don't own rights to the story because the story doesn't have any. It's too old.
Well, I don't know. There's a copyright lasts for several years. I think it's 75 years. I'm not positive about that.
But these are not the original writers. They're writing a story.
Well,
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, honest variations of the story that I guess would qualify as an original adaptation or original version. That then is usually a copyrighted piece.
You would have to do a word for word in order for someone to say you shouldn't have told that story like that. You would have to do a word for word on their version of the ugly duckling or whatever. I could tell Little Red Riding Hood any way I want.
Well, I of course I'm not an attorney. We should invite. I'm gonna talk to Jonathan, see if we can't get somebody, a copyright attorney in here. I don't mean copyright, an entertainment attorney, entertainment law. There's one here in in Connecticut that's rather renowned, and talk about that. I know that Disney annually sues entities that use the Disney characters, like on the walls of their. There's been daycare centers that have been sued because daycare center, they put Mickey Mouse up, Donald Duck, all of the different Disney characters on the wall, and they will sue them, serve them with a cease and desist order because those are trademark protected characters, and you can't use them, and if you don't do that, you'll lose control of them. So if you write a script for something, if you write a song, if you write a book, that work is protected so that you as the copyright owner can ultimately profit from your work.
Right.
So that someone else is not doing that. Plays, people do plays like school plays. Mm-hmm. You have to get permission for that. Even songs that are sung, you got the little song guy, he's playing his guitar, or someone's playing a piano in a bar somewhere, and you would think, what's the big deal? Well, it's not a big deal until the guy who wrote the song happened to stop by that bar on his way to Kentucky, and he's upset about something, and he hears you playing his song, and he could sue you. Cease and desist.
But if nobody plays this song, he wouldn't even be popular. He wouldn't even, if the person is not making a profit off of it or not sending it out there to make money, then what would be his reason?
That's the common thought that the copyright violator uses. Well, I mean, I'm helping to spread his music out there, and without that, who would know? I know we pay an annual fee, accesstv.org, aka J. Stan McCauley. We pay an annual fee for all of the music we play. And all of the music you hear on our program, background music, all of those things are we have permission. I have permission to use Jay Hogarth's music. Any songs you see on our network, we pay for that background music. On YouTube, if you don't, you can get a copyright strike. 3 of them, and you're banned from YouTube for life. For life. We have 1 copyright strike. It was because of a guest that we had on. And the woman talked about a subject that is not, it was a political subject. And she talked about it. And, 4 months later, we got a warning. The first one's a warning. But so technically we have 1 copyright strike. And, and so it's a warning. The next one, you lose privileges for like a week. And then it's 2 weeks. And then after that, you're done. You're done. And then Facebook, if you if you violate Facebook's rules, you log on to your stuff, it's just gone. It's gone.
So there's a lot to this.
Right. Because you're using someone else's platform. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. You benefit, they benefit, but it is their platform. Make no mistake about it. And if you don't play by their rules, they don't have to grant you access to the system. So there are copyright laws for the people who create music. So like exceedingly good friend of mine, Ronnie Song, I'll generally drop names, but is a Grammy Award winning record producer, and he eats by making music. And so all of the people in the music industry, television, radio, all of these people who are creators of artistic content make their money from their art. So if you would write a story like the story about that you always tell, it's the girl.
Oh, the beautiful girl that married a fish.
No. It's your story. It's a story that you tell all the time.
Juba.
No. That's like about a girl or somebody. You tell it often, and your family's heard it from when you were little and you've always told this story. I can't think of the name of it, but it's yours. It's totally original. And if you were to go to a festival.
Oh, okay.
If you were to go to a festival and someone was telling that story, you'd be like, oh, wait, hold up now. That's my story. He's simply telling my story. Now you're waiting to see if he gives you credit for the story. Because people have taken music straight out and taken bars from it, taken the music. You need permission to do that and write a whole new song around it. And they've been taken to court and have lost. Had to compensate the actual owner millions of dollars.
Okay.
So it's taken very seriously. The circle of people affected may be tiny compared to the whole, but that tiny circle, that's how they make their money. That's how they eat. That's how they feed their families. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's why I won't make people will say, "Can you make a copy of this song for me?" And I always tell them, no. I just need you to make a no. I won't do that.
All right. Take the King James version of the Bible and any other. That is the only one that doesn't have copyright, right? The New Standard Version, the NIV, the
NIV is absolutely copywritten.
Yes.
In fact, I'm looking around for because I use on Light Source Victory Television, which we haven't done a production of since the beginning of the year. But I use a program called the Online Bible. And the Online Bible has, I think, like 27, probably about 30 by now. But I know there's like 27 different versions or translations of Scripture. We have the NIV that we use, the New International Version, the New Living Translation. It's the one I use on the air. But the New Living Translation, we had to pay an additional fee to download that version because it's a copyright fee. So they can't put that in the software without paying a fee for every one that's used. And it tells you right there on the receipt, copyright fee. This is an added extra for copyright fees because the platform is pretty much free. King James is free. I think all the other ones though, they have copyrights. Now you could get into some sort of I think you could wage a really good theological and ethical and moral whatever debate as to whether or not it is correct to copyright the word. I think that's atrocious, but I don't make the laws. I think that if anything should be free, it should be anything Bible.
So,
but that's me.
I told a biblical story.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I've read several versions.
Mm-hmm.
I've mapped out how I want to tell this story,
mm-hmm.
and I tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my way.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a copyright? My way.
I once again would have to defer to a legal mind on that. To me, I don't necessarily see a problem, but legally and technically, if it's someone else's story,
it's a biblical story, so that's not someone else's story. It's our story, so it's a biblical story. So someone cannot claim that this story is mine in a biblical story. There must be some kind of measure of how they produced or wrote their story that would have to be matched with how I told the story, because the story is not theirs.
Well, if you're given an account of something that happened, I don't see where that would be an issue. If what you're doing is reading something that is a story, like the Hartford Courant reports on the news.
Right.
So you can't just copy the Hartford Courant and then put it online.
Right.
Okay. You really can't. I don't think you technically can read the story like on the air. But all news in almost every region comes from the local leading paper. So the Hartford Courant, what you hear in the radio news, a lot of times television will follow the paper. But they have the capacity to go out and cover their own stories. But the paper usually leads the news cycle. It's the official mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do a pull quote and give, this is a quote from this story. Check the story out. All right. Well, you start copying and pasting. Now there's going to be a little bit of a problem because they make their money off of selling papers or drawing people to the platform so that they can pay. But if you start reprinting it, that's a problem. That's a problem. So, however, if you tell the story about the accident that they're reporting on, or you tell the story about the legislation that was passed,
mm-hmm.
well, that happened. You're not violating their,
because that actually happened.
That actually happened,
and I'm telling about that.
Right. Now, if your rendition of what happened seems to be word for the story, we might have some problems. But
Oh, no problem.
So the copyright really protects the copyright owner. Unless they take you to court or file suit. So it gives them the right to protect the copy. Violating it is an accusation, and then it must be proven, of course, in a court of law. Will someone go through all that because you told a story that they told? The chances are very unlikely.
Oh, I wouldn't think that they.
But you just never know. Better to be safe than to be sorry. That's what I always tell people. Yeah.
God, everybody has to have a lawyer.
Well, you don't necessarily have to have a lawyer. Just follow the rules.
Yeah, but you have to know all the rules. You could read the rules and there could be something that you're missing or something, especially if you are, if it's your livelihood,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be safe. So you need to go get a
Oh,
lawyer.
well, yeah.
You need to go get a lawyer, and they cost a lot of money.
Well, lawyers cost a lot of money because lawyers are experts at what they do. They're generally experts at the law. So if you're in music or in entertainment, a lot of people don't realize or think of entertainment as being a business. They think of it in terms of I'm being entertained. But if you're in entertainment, 90% of show business is business. 10% is the show. And so if you're in show business and you're only concerned about the 10%, then you will be the show. And someone else will be the business. So you need a lawyer to help you understand the things that you don't know. And that's where their weight is worth. They're worth their weight in platinum. The time to get the attorney is not after the problem. It's before the problem. Then you'll wish you could pay an attorney whatever he or she was going to charge beforehand, because now it's going to really cost you. Just like the current administration here in Hartford. People didn't think it was going to cost them, but as they exit, they might leave Hartford with a $90 million debt. So you count the cost before, not after. It's too late after.
Got that.
Yeah, count the cost. You got to count the cost after. Well, let's take a short break and then we'll be back. We'll do a little what we call shameless self-hype. Shh. That's what we used to call on the radio, shameless self-hype. Stick and stay. We'll be right back. Morning Talk.
Connecticut, I'm talking to you.
I'm Corrine Blake, resident of Asylum Hill, and if I were the mayor of Hartford, I'd make sure that everyone in the education system knew about the community in which they work, the city in which they work. Because once you know about it, you begin to value the city and you begin to serve in that fashion. I'm really very passionate about education. I'm an early childhood educator, and so I wouldn't be doing any playing around with programming and getting help to the people who work in these areas. It has to be focused, well formatted, and supported. So that's like my biggest thing, because as my mother taught us many years ago in Jamaica, once you have education, that's one thing no man can take away from you. You may lose your money, you may lose your property, but once you are well educated, no one can take that from you. And if you have that, then we can build a viable city. Thank you.
Look at your city, stop, take a look around.
All right, my friends, Morning Talk. Welcome back. In the background, or as you can see, Jay Hokart. Recorded live at Van Gelder Studio. Amazing.
But there must be a knack for, I have a knack for music or something. Because I love the piano and my fingers don't move. I guess you gotta keep practicing. My sister said I should have kept my music playing the piano for a little bit at Artist Collective.
Mesmerizing. All right. Well, needless to say, I could sit and watch this all day, and I can't play music sometimes because I won't get anything done. I just stop. I start listening to me. It's like ear candy.
Oh, that's I'm the same way about books.
Oh, let me read this. Oh goodness! Next thing you know, 2-3 hours.
Matter of fact, it happened yesterday. I was sitting down, and I was trying to give away some books. That is so hard for me to do. Give away books and send them to some place. But I have 2 boxes of them that I put together. But it took me hours because I kept sitting down and reading, and I'd go do something. I said, no, I need to go and like clean the bathroom. I started cleaning the bathroom, and then I'd find a book, and I'd sit down for an hour and read before I could find the bathroom. I did finally finish the bathroom by night, but it was a long haul. So I understand when you say music.
Yeah.
When you talk about your love of music.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Oh no one's getting this book. Oh no, I can't get that book
get
to
that
anybody. I
away.
gotta have to get that book to a special person. Somebody who's gonna love it. Oh goodness. I pulled out the book Bud Not Buddy. It was a popular book at one time. And I sat down and I started reading because it took me so long to find that book, and I sat there and read it for about an hour. About a young boy that had to go to foster care.
Pull your mic up.
Oh,
there you go. There we go.
a young boy that had to go to foster care, and his way of coping, and it was so I'm reading it. I said I didn't read this book before, but it was so popular at one time that I couldn't get it. I couldn't even find it. Now I have 2 copies of it. So you expect me to throw that book, into the pile of giveaways? I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to do that yet. I may do it someday, but not yet. I'd love to read it on the air, but just like you said, it has copyright, so I think
you could read a story, as a storyteller. But to answer the question technically, but I don't think most authors would have a problem with you reading
the story.
a story. But
But there's so many stories. And this one book, I really, it's teaches kids about morals and integrity and virtues. The book on children's virtues. And that's one of the books that the Ugly Duckling was in. And I could tell a story that the Ugly Duckling, but behind it has a little message for the children, which I think is very good, and I would like to read that. But I saw the copyright thing, but it said just they will not give it to anyone who's trying to make money. It said right there.
Right. And that's generally the rule. If you are going to read a story, I mean, it's clear that you're reading to a group of kids, and maybe they'll go out and buy a book. It's different if you're trying to republish it. You printing off rogue copies of it and handing them out to the kids. Now that might be a problem. Or making, mimeograph. Now there's a term you haven't heard in a long time, a mimeograph. I'm dating myself, Photocopy. Let's bring it at least up to photocopy. You're making copies of it yourself and distributing it. You remember a mimeograph?
Yeah.
You get the tape and you can roll the thing up.
When I was working at Christchurch Cathedral, when I was working,
I can still smell the chemical.
They had a mimeograph machine. They brought it down to me. This priest brought it down to me. He wanted, and I don't remember them. It's maybe when I was in grade school, but I don't remember them. It was a very awkward looking thing.
I remember at Harvard Public Access Television when I first went there, we had a newsletter, and it seemed to me that we used the mimeograph machine to make the very first copies, and then we went to doing photocopies, and the calendar would come out on it, and we would send out like maybe 150 of them or 200 of them, because I remember bundling them up into zip codes. So for the bulk mail, and you take it over to the post office and put it in a special place, and
you'd have to know how to put the ink on. If I'm not mistaken, don't you have to? And a mimeograph machine, don't you have to?
There's kind of like this ink, but it's like a bottle, as I recall.
A bottle, okay.
It went kind of like into the side of the unit.
Because it doesn't always come out evenly.
No, and you have a stencil. It's like like a big.
Right.
And the ink wasn't black. It was like a purplish or blue or something like that. It was weird. And you would crank it, and the faster you crank it, the more it would come out. And then, of course, they had the kind of electronic one. I'm sure there's some video of mimeograph machines. And,
I was reading how time goes on, and it was it was called, this book, Messy Spirituality, but he was saying you can't just stay still and you want it to be just this way, just the way you had it, and you change with everything else. You have to, you change as things go on. It's not the same. And he was talking about some churches who,
stuck in the mud.
But throughout all of history, and he goes back to biblical times when things were changing, and as they changed, the people had to change, and so do we. We have, if we have to do it differently, we do it differently. It's not the purpose may be the same, but the way we do things and the way we put things together are not the same. And if you want to be stuck in there, you leave out a lot of people who are different, a lot of people that some churches or people do not accept anymore, because
I think you die a slow, painful death. You cease to be relevant and functional, and so people just don't come anymore. or as they say, a lot of churches die of old age because the young stop coming, and the steadfast, the mind that refuses to see beyond right here is what takes over. And before long, they dwindle down to nothing, and they become unsustainable, and they cease to be.
And they don't.
Yeah. And so, times change, people change. Once upon a time, the idea of having an electric instrument in the church was blasphemy. That is nothing but the devil.
Yes, and we sort of go along, and it's a really easy, nice book to read, Messy Spirituality. I'm going to bring it to you.
Okay.
And how Jesus did things,
Well, he was pretty radical.
He always went to the messy people.
Yeah.
He went to the people, the outcasts and the poor, and he didn't go up to the professional people. He went to the people.
He went the people that needed the help the most and were looking for ways to receive help.
That's right.
It's like going a lot of times what churches become, they become cruise ships for the rescued. And then they forget why they were ever out to sea. At one time they were in the water drowning, hoping that someone would come by and help them. And then once they got helped and got on board the ship, every time they go to sea, they want a better ship, a safer ship. Before long, they wind up on this luxury liner. And there are people in the water drowning, and they're like, oh, don't stop, they'll get the ship wet. And they lose sight.
It can happen so easily and so simply. It's like when working in the soup kitchen, taking the participant who came into lunch every day, taking him as a volunteer and working in the kitchen with me and serving and being a part of all the decisions really that's we make. Then him going to the kitchen door, looking out at the people who come to lunch and say something like, he doesn't even work. She sold this and she, my ears were burning. I would get so furious. I said, what are you talking about? Weren't you there last week? Weren't you sitting in those seats last week? So that quickly, you could become better than.
Yeah, they lose sight of the mission. That happens to a lot of times people who do community work. Unfortunately, they lose sight. So the very people who should be fighting for bettering the community look at the fight that they're in as an opportunity to profit from helping the community get better. To then they become the very instrument or the very entity that they once were fighting against, they have now become. So the oppressed generally wind up being the oppressors.
How when I went into work with the homeless, I always had this picture in my mind of when I was younger, and we went over to Bergdorf Clinic. The women would get together, and all of us children, I don't know, we were going to see the doctor or the dentist or something. They went in groups, and they'd get on a bus. And I never liked how my mother was spoken to. I did not like the feeling I had when I went into that place. And when I started working in the soup kitchen, I called it I started calling it the state disease. I called it the state disease. So I said, I cannot get to that point where I have the state disease, the indifference, So, and it happened when I felt it was happening to me, I'd have to back up. And when it was starting to happen to the people that I hired, I would say, you know what you need? You need to take a day off, because it's tiring working with people. I mean, you can get really stressed out yourself. So I would give people the day off, or I said, go sit down in that corner someplace, something to get you away from it immediately. Like when my pocketbooks were stolen. Twice, my Bible, my pocketbooks were stolen. And I was furious, and just a one lone voice saying, but Cleo, all of us didn't steal just one person stole your pocketbook, and they're not here. And I was talking. So you have to be very careful of that.
Yeah. State disease.
Yeah, I called it a state disease because I found it everywhere. You find it
like
everywhere. You find it in all these organizations. There's always people of indifference who look at the people that they're supposed to be helping with indifference. And you walk 10 miles to get there to ask for their help. And they said, did you fill out these papers? Did you do this? Well, we can't do a thing for you until you do this. Well, the person can't read. Help the person.
Right.
Or the person can't write. They never asked a question. They said, here. They practically throw the damn papers at you. Here. Or they tell people with no telephones that they know live in the streets to call them back at noon or call them back at this time. How ridiculous. You help people where they are. Not this foolishness that you see every single day, and people have to go through and those people sitting in those seats, a lot of them were in the same place not too long ago. And that's how they treat the people who are still there.
The serving other people, like public service, is a calling, really. A lot of people are not servant in their mindset. They don't think of themselves as being in service to. And a lot of occupations that are public service oriented require that the individuals who undertake those jobs have a servant's heart, a servant's attitude. And a lot of people don't want to be a servant. They don't want to serve other people. And so they look at themselves as, well, I'm doing you a favor by helping you. Well, you're actually being paid to do this job, or you're volunteering to do this job. Yeah, but they're like, well, and you'll even see it sometimes at the counters of like fast food places. Oh, so you want salt? Yeah, they give you like one salt packet. Could I have a couple more? What you gonna do with all this salt? It's not even good for you. That's not, you're fighting. You're fighting to get good service, and yet you're paying for that. And so a lot of people aren't ministers. They're not ministry oriented. So in other countries, you're the minister of, and it's a ministry, the ministry of whatever. Here it's kind of like just a department, but you're here to help people. And if you don't have a help people attitude and a help people heart, then it's not long before you get in a position and you think like you're entitled, and you take advantage of and exploit people as opposed to serving people. It's terrible. And it sometimes I think one of the reasons it happens so quickly is because people become comfortable and free to be who they think who they really are. And for a while they were down and out. Now that they get back on their feet, they go back to being what they were and who they were before that happened. And they're not nice.
They're not nice.
Not nice. They're oppressive. They exploit, they oppress, and they do all kinds of other horrible, mean things to people.
And what could prevent that, or at least not it not being so bad, is the management.
Absolutely.
The management is the whole question. You get the people in line.
Yes.
And what they're supposed to do. But if the management is not listening, if the management is not paying attention to attitudes, then it goes amok.
I don't know if you've ever watched Undercover Boss. You ever watch that?
Yes.
I
have.
love Undercover Boss. Some of them are exceptional. There was a fast food chain, and the guy went in and he became like the newbie, and he shut the store down in the middle of the first. He just shut the store. It really is. I'm getting a little emotional. I could cry about thinking about the episode. He was so taken back by the way the manager was treating the employees. He says, you know what, we're gonna stop this right now. He shut it down. But it turned out that the manager just wasn't trained right. And so, ultimately it all rolls uphill to him. And, he took full responsibility, sent him off to training. He gave, how the Undercover Boss really gave the people money to get this, money to get that. But a lot of times management becomes detached from the means by which people receive the services, because they're so busy counting money or production, this, that, and the third, and they miss the middle ground. But you have to be, as a manager, that's part of your job, making sure that the customers are served right, that the management operates right, that the staff has the tools that they need. This is not rocket science.
No. And the thing is, which is not your job, and you're probably not paid for, but you got to take care of your staff.
Yeah.
You have to take care of your staff. Your staff has to be comfortable in coming in. Your staff has to be comfortable to coming to you and telling you what maybe their problem is that is not a part of the job, but what is causing them to be like they are on their job. They should be comfortable in telling. You got to be all things to all people. When you're that middle management, you're taking care of these people and you're trying to make sure these people are satisfied too.
Well, have a good work experience, and a good work atmosphere. Yeah. I was always taught, never work someplace, and I've never worked any place like that either. Never. Never work somewhere that if they fire you, you wouldn't go back and volunteer the next day. If you work somewhere like that, if that's your attitude at work, then you'll, once again, never work a day in your life because it's a job that you love. So I've never been long-term employed somewhere that I didn't want to be. And short-term employments of someplace I didn't want to be, I quit. Don't work anywhere where you're going to be unhappy and make everyone around you unhappy, because you turn into that miserable guy that we were talking about earlier. The Debbie Downer, or the negative person that every time someone comes up with a solution, you can find a problem for it. So be happy on your job, but part of management's job is to make sure that the work environment is encouraging.
Yes.
That the staff feels encouraged, that the staff has the tools they need to do the job, and that it's not responsibility of the staff to find something to do, because you'll get a lot of managers who say that. Well, you know what you should be doing. Go find something.
And so you go around.
That's not the employee's job.
No.
It's not the employee's job to self-assign work. That's management's job. And make sure that they have the tools they need, and that they're not overwhelmed. A lot of times people won't report that they're working over the expectations. They'll over-deliver, which is always nice to have staff and employees that want to over-deliver. But if they're over delivering, that means they're overextending, and chances are you might need to bring on more staff. But if you don't know that, then you think that's the level of work everybody should be doing when they're really doing actual work. A lot of times people will take work home and do the work. You should not take work home. Work should be done at work. If you're taking work home, then you're doing more work than management realizes. So you need more staff, but they don't know that because they don't know that you're doing, and so all of this requires communicating and, talking and having an environment where people feel free, as you mentioned, to talk to their managers and their boss. And if the manager's not doing right, go above them.
There, how it is. They put a person in management that has absolutely no experience, no life experience, maybe they have a degree or something, but they have no life experience. So they don't know how to manage. And they're not very well trained. And they say, which was said to me, oh, but he has a master's, or she's got a degree, or he's got a degree. I said, really, they come down. Maybe I wasn't very nice to him. I don't know. God will tell me when it's time. Come down and have this person with absolutely no experience and expect them, because they too scared to come down. That's what I thought. I don't, maybe not. Came down to supervise someone who has been there and been supervising for years and expecting, because they have a degree. But they don't tell a person who's supervising, this poor person is supposed to just go in there and do it. You know they're going to catch hell, right? Go in there and do it. And until one day they cry. And I said, what's the matter? And they said, well, I'm supposed to do this, and they told me to do this, and they do. And I said, really? Really? Well, I said, let me tell you. If I don't say it could be done here, it's not going to be done. I don't know what else to tell you. So I had to go up and tell the higher management that. And of course, eventually, they got rid of me. Eventually, but at that particular time, how do you do that? You got 100 people who look to you for things, and this person's going to come up and says, well, you're supposed to do this, and I'm looking at him, so what are you talking about? So we had to get that straight. But you don't let someone become an intricate part of something, if you're management, an intricate part of something where if you take them out, it will be really noticed and things will start changing. You don't let them get to that point.
Right.
If you don't want them to be the boss, don't give them that role. Don't disappear and say, okay, you do it. And then when things get halfway decent, say, oh, but that person has this and that person has this. And at this point, nobody can supervise you in that space. Not only because you don't want them to, but you got a whole bunch of people who are not going to let them either. So how do you do that? How do you let a person get that far and then kind of pull them back and say, here's a person with this and here's a person with that? Well, with me, it never, ever worked. Those people disappeared. And one person, I don't know why they cried. This person cried. he said he cried. He said he went to management told me he went to them and he was crying. He said, Cleo made me cry. I don't know what I did to make him cry. I have no idea what I did to make him cry. But he stayed my boss, but he stayed at a distance, and he wasn't really my boss. I was still always the boss. I was still always the boss with a boss, you know. And they one by one, they disappeared because they didn't have a relationship with the people, and some of them were afraid of the people, and people got fired because they didn't handle a situation before it got to a point where people were threatening or someone wanted to, you know. And, you know, I would come back and I would say, why didn't you handle this? Why did it get to this point? But nobody answered me. They just gave me an appointment to see the director. After a while, they gave me a appointment to see the director. And so they let me go after 17 years or 16 and a half years or something like that. But I'm probably needed to. But you can't let people get that far and then pull them back when you still need them there to do all the things that's not fair. That's just not fair.
Right.
So management is very important, and they should be well trained in people, right?
Well supported, and
right.
All of that requires communication, and unfortunately, a lot of places they just don't communicate very well. Stick and stay. We'll be right back. Morning Talk.
Every bad political decision is made by a politician elected to office. So if you think your vote doesn't matter, just remember this. There are people sitting with politicians in a back room making deals about your future, making policies about your children, making decisions about your neighborhood. To them, you are just a vote. You are not their cause. You are just a vote. Elections have consequences, and if you don't vote, you are actually voting to keep these people in power to work against you. Now more than ever, you need to make your vote count. It's time to clear the air and vote for a mayor that is unbought, unbossed, trusted, and accountable to you, the constituent. My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor of the city of Hartford. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience and vote for the name you trust and know. Vote J. Stan McCauley for mayor.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, welcome back. Morning Talk. Your host, J. Stan McCauley, along with Cleo Duke-Wright, talk champion. Today, want to remind you, every day at 8 a.m. p.m. it's Morning Talk. So you can check in and get caught up on just the conversation, what you might miss, So you can also call. You could drop messages into the chat, and especially when we're live, and we'll address some of the questions that you may have.
I got something to say before you go off the air.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I met a young man. I'm so sorry that I went out the house without his book, but he is a financial person, and this book is about this thick. And he says, after you read this book, you'll be able to not be afraid of investing. You'll know what to do. He was kind of a he interested me, and I said I could do this because I don't like to read about the stock market and those little numbers in the paper, and I that is like the most boring thing in the world to me. And I never thought that I could invest anything on my own, but he loves this, and he was talking to me, and he brought me his book, and I said, okay, you want to explain it? You can explain it on the morning show with Stan. And so I invited him to be with us next week.
Okay.
And I'm sorry if he's listening today that I forgot your book and your name and everything else. You gotta forgive me. I'm an old woman, but and I thought I was erasing all the numbers that I missed, and I said, but I actually erased everything, and so I couldn't even call you back and tell you. So I just wanted to let you know. I hope he gives me a call. If not, I'm going to bring that book in and I'm going to show it to everyone. But I think he'll be with us next week.
All right. Well, I'll look forward to him.
Okay.
To him being here. You remember Harvard Decides?
Do you remember what?
Harvard Decides.
Oh yeah.
They came in and let me just drop this whole thing here. Hold on here. There we go. All right. Yeah. Harvard Decides. Oh, I could have left that up.
Those are the finalists.
There we go. These are the finalists. And you can vote. Now, I was supposed to do my voting on the air today, but these are the finalists. And so your idea, real money, a better city. Well, that's not really what it says. It says your idea plus real money equal a better city. Promoting participatory budgeting in the city of Hartford. Vote in English, votar. I guess that's how that's pronounced. In Espanol. Vote for your favorite 2023 ideas. And the 2023 project finalists: safer lighted pedestrian crosswalk signs near Bushnell Park. I think that's down near what they call the Circle of Death. You know what the Circle of Death is?
No.
Pulaski Circle down there.
Oh.
You cross any of those crosswalk sections.
Oh yeah, I guess.
At your own peril. Blue
Hills Avenue.
Blue Hills Avenue.
Blue Hills Avenue.
A safer Blue Hills Avenue. Student score goals.
What's that one?
Manuela makes art at the square. You can learn more. You click on these and find out a little bit more about them. Basketball court revitalization for students at Sand School. Well, it doesn't say Sand School. See how you be adding stuff?
Sands.
It said Sand.
S-A. Well, that's
South Arsenal Neighborhood Development. Right? Sand. All right. Sand. Building 1. Right? Yeah. Everybody shout out. So let's see here. Learn more. There we go. And see the
yeah.
The need to upgrade the basketball nets are in pretty much disarray there.
How many winners? Just one?
You have to vote for 2. The highest one. I don't know how they distribute the funds, but I think maybe the top 3 or top 2. I really don't know. But you can find out more information, and there's still time to vote. You have till the end of the month, which is coming up on us real quick. The cost is there. This is obviously in Spanish and English, but all of the different things that you can vote for. The description for them is right here on the screen, and make sure I don't. There we go. Yeah, we're back out here, and learn more. I think this is where's the Bushnell Park roundabout there. Since I live near there, let me learn some more about this. These PDFs got to load up. Yeah. Is this? Yeah, this is Pulaski Circle. That's kind of odd circle.
Shouldn't just the city do that just for safety purposes?
Well, there are crosswalks here. There are crosswalks here, but I guess they want lighted crosswalks. Where the flashing is.
Because there has been a lot of accidents there.
Well, you cross here. People come off the highway and they come around here 60 miles an hour. They're trying to do their best to get. And then you come across here, you swing. You do one of those rolling California stops at 30 miles an hour. And then you cut up West Street this way. I know that because I'm the guy that I come home when I'm coming back. But I don't fly through these things. I always give people, I'll stop here for people doing this crosswalk here. I slow down and I stop and I wait because you can see them crossing. But a lot of times people won't stop for them. They just make the people stop. But in Connecticut, as soon as you look like you're getting ready to step off the curb,
you stop.
You have to stop. That's state law. And so, I encourage pedestrians, walk with your camera out and tape people as you cross. That way they'll know that if they hit you, you have visual evidence. Although that's not a laughing matter, Steve. No, so insensitive. Right? Safer crosswalks near Bushnell Park. And now you had said, isn't this something the city should be thinking about? Well, these are actually capital projects. You just get to decide on where and what what this money is going to be used for out of the capital budget. And this will be $35,000. All you have here right now are 2 stop signs. All right. And so this was brought up at the South Downtown NRZ, the Sodo NRZ, which is my NRZ. Okay, so, and I went to the NRZ meeting. They talked about that. That's why I'm highlighting this particular one. I'm also finding out some more information about it because, this can be a serious issue. Now, I cross here often. I ride my bike here often. And I have to be sensitive to the issue because people have talked about it. So I've never had a problem, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a problem. So my experience doesn't define everyone else's reality. My experience has not been bad here, but clearly other people have had bad experiences at this crosswalk. So you could say, I want public works money to be spent, public public, improvement monies to be spent here. Pedestrian activated flashing crosswalk lights at the entrances and exits of Pulaski Circle with Hudson Street and Elm Street near Bushnell Park. This will make it safer for pedestrians crossing these busy streets where there are only stop and yield signs today. Drivers trying to navigate the confusion of Pulaski Circle often fail to see pedestrians crossing Hudson and Elm. So I can wrap my head around that. Though I have no problem navigating Pulaski Circle. And in my mind, I can't imagine how anyone could or would. But then I travel there all the time for the last 40 years. So by now it should be something that's like at the back of your mind. But my dad, who comes here fairly regularly, always gets lost at Pulaski Circle. It's amazing he doesn't go back on the highway.
Really?
Really, he winds up going down toward downtown. He's wound up at the Capitol. He's wound up on Elm Street. He's wound up on Hudson Street. I said, Dad, you come around the circle, get off the highway, right? You go, like 30 minutes, like halfway around, and you come to Elm Street. Hang on, just take the exit off the circle. I tell them the second exit off the circle. All right. Exit 1 put you downtown. Exit 2 will put you on Elm Street, where you would go up past the mayor's house, all right, toward the Capitol. As soon as you take that hard, the right, there's West Street. Hang a left on West Street. Go straight over to Wadsworth. You'll call me. Stan, it's your father. I recognize your voice, Dad. He's 91. He still drives a school bus. He's still driving the school bus. He passes the stress test. He can see everything. He's quite clear about everything. And driving with him is a trip because he drives the legal speed limit all the time, everywhere. Because he doesn't want to get his sanction on his license. So the on ramp, like if you go down, if you get on Pulaski Circle to get to the highway, that whole stretch of highway is only 30 miles an hour. And he drives 30 miles an hour.
And nobody else does, because I drive 30 miles an hour and I get people so
They are
angry.
blowing their horns at you. They're going around you. They're upset because to them, that's the highway. But it's not. It's the on ramp. And the speed limit is 30 miles an hour. Even when you get around the curve and you get onto the 84, 91,
Yep.
it's not till you get actually on 91
that
you bring your car up to speed. So you drive with him and it's like, you feel like you want to put your foot on top of his foot and speed up a little bit. But he'll call me and say, Stan, it's your father. Yeah, Dad. Yeah. Yes, I'm here, son, but clearly I'm not, because I'm on the phone calling to you for directions. So you're here in Hartford? Yes, but I'm not there. He has a real straight sense of humor. So where are you, Dad? Well, I'm down at the Noble station. Which Noble station? The one near my house? No, the one that's near the way the car is pointing. I see your Capitol. So, Dad, you're all the way down by Broad Street. Yes, the sign says Broad Street, Stan. It's hilarious talking to him. It's like being at a comedy show. So, well, Dad, you went the wrong way. That seems to happen every once in a while when I come up here. I said, I must be going the wrong way, because after I got to the top of the hill, I could see that your house wasn't there, and so it's just. So I can see where people actually get confused, because I have a family member that seems. And so while you're trying to figure out where you're going, you wind up running into somebody. So this could be a legitimate problem. So I'm encouraging you to cast your vote, at least one of them, for
Better lighting.
better lighting at Pulaski Circle. All right, so maybe that'll help get me a few votes from the South Downtown. NRZ. We'll have to see how that works out. Okay, so, and then pick another one, anyone you want. But make sure you vote for this one. All right, that was an unsolicited advertisement for the Pulaski Circle vote. But you have to vote for two. You have to vote for two. Yeah. You gotta vote for two.
So, in upgrading the basketball, when they say upgrading, what are they're talking about more nets?
Well, let's take a deep dive and see. Where is that? That's right here. Also $35,000. That's not a lot of money. $35,000.
Nope.
Goodness, that's not even like a rounding error for some folk.
They have not had that downtown basketball thing that they had when Doc Hurley was alive. They don't do that anymore, do they?
The Doc Hurley Classic?
Yeah. That.
I don't know if I think the pandemic kind of got in the way of that. They may start that up again. I have to talk to some people. If they don't, we will. And after we win the election, I'll have to look into that. Sand basketball court revitalization for students at Sand. Jeez. Yeah, this is something that should be done. These are my two votes. I'm going to vote for these two. Yeah. Sand, SAND. That's the South Arsenal Neighborhood Development Elementary School, located at 1750 Main Street. Who benefits the students and the surrounding community of Sand. The students frequent this basketball court and enjoy using it. Revitalization of the basketball court. Students are and the community at Sand School frequently. That's it. They're gonna revitalize the court. I guess to be more than just buying a net. I guess they'll maybe do a new surface on there and
Okay.
And other stuff, But with supply chain delays and cost overruns, someone I guess could make the case that replacing the two nets could cost $35,000.
Really?
It depends on who gets the contract, because this way, the actual net, you might be able to pick up both of them for maybe $60. But the delivery fee, the research, the disparity study to make sure that
they put the nets up right.
You put the nets up right. Who's gonna get the contract and whether or not we're gonna make because it's just a net. But we're not worried about the nets. It's like, who's gonna get the nets? Who's gonna put them up? And you're gonna do just one person? A lot of people can eat off of that. So you get 2 or 3 people to put the net up. So I got to hold the ladder. So I'm going to supervise the ladder holders.
Yep. Are you going to say something about this?
What's that? Oh, that's my path.
Did you pass these out already?
I passed them out last night at the debate. Every person.
Let me put some at where I live.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We've got thousands of them.
Then I'm going to take all of these.
You can take. I'll give you.
And I'm going to put them on the table.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's the path to impact. That was an insert in the Hartford News. So that was in every single Hartford News last week.
Oh.
Right, and so that's what we call the path to impact. It's actually our plan, and it's our plan. The strategic initiative, how you implemented the cover letter that was sent to the Hartford Democratic Town Committee, my resume, qualifications for the job, how I plan to implement all of that. Yeah. No other candidate has that. Ask everybody running for office, what is your path to impact? And impact means how are you going to impact the constituent with the things you're doing. There are a lot of people talking all kind of smack about this, that, and the third, but they're disconnected from anything.
You have your 5 points right here.
The 5-point plan is there. We're getting ready to implement and introduce at an upcoming press conference the sixth plank.
I'm talking to you.
We introduced our sixth priority, which we will make it a big announcement of later on. That's all set. There'll be a big press conference. Oh yeah, the podium in the hallway.
Yes,
I saw
that.
We ordered a special, presidential kind of level podium. It looks professional, not one of those little rinky-dink podiums you see folk trying to keep stable. If you lean on it, falls over.
Is that going to be outside?
That's going to be outside. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That has a special transport vehicle too. That doesn't go in the bus. We have a special team of people that carry that podium with white gloves. Make sure it doesn't get scratched.
Why, you going to send it back?
No.
Like a new dress? After I wear it to the ball, I'll take it back to the store.
Don't spill anything on this.
Is that what you're going to do?
No. That podium is going to be the podium I use every time I go someplace to speak publicly that requires a podium. It'll be that podium.
What if they already have a podium there?
Team will take it down. That's not the mayor's podium. No. He'll bring his own podium. It has sound and everything. It's really high tech. If you're gonna do it right.
Oh my Lord! Here we go.
Yeah. I don't talk about these things much because I try not to talk so much about myself.
Right. Okay. But you're maybe because I see you more than I see anybody else. But you're the only one I see. And once in a while, I do see Eric on my sort of rounds, and that's all I see. I mean to go to Center Church because that's I told you that's the first place I ever preached and worked. Preached and worked with the homeless. That's the first church I did that with. And the other day I was coming out of my my unit, my apartment, and I was outside and I saw this girl and this woman, and she had earrings in her cheeks and she had her hair, and she's walking toward me with a pizza in her hand, going in the door, and she just stops and her eyes get as big as saucers, and she says, Miss Cleo, and I'm looking at this girl. I don't know who she is, but she was a student of mine when I taught at Center Church downtown Hartford, and she just gave me all the. She married well. She married a former I don't know if he was a Marine. It was a service person, and I met him. With wonderful. He seemed like a very nice guy. Oh, and she just talked about so many people. She lost her sister, her oldest sister, recently. But I looked at her and this, and I just remember she told me about everybody who intermarried and who did this and who did this, because I haven't been to Center Church for a long time, and the camp is still open. And one of the people who was at the who was there, one of the children are still helping still run the camp. You ever been to the Center Church's camp?
I have not. No.
Oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful place every year. And it was just an amazing, amazing visit as she tells me about all of these people. And she came from, her father, I hope it's all right for me to say this, her father committed suicide. And he was a very nice, wonderful guy. But he just had an addiction that he could not get over. And he left a note and told his family goodbye. I'm sorry I've caused you so much trouble. It was really wonderful, to see her. And I said, oh, that was so sad. And she says, I wouldn't have come out the way I came out if things didn't all happen the way they happened. And she was just so grateful for her life and her mother. She has a wonderful mother and aunt. And it was just a wonderful reunion just to see a life so bright, and so much life and so much joy in who she was and where she came from. And in a lot of times in cases like hers, people don't end up as well. But she ended up well, and her sisters did well. She did well. I was just so proud to have been a part. And she just kept saying, I love you so much. I love you so much. I remember you so. And I said, wow. You don't know what kind of impact you have on people's lives. I am shocked all the time of what, and you don't even know it. You just don't even know it. So it's wonderful. And I just wanted to tell you that was a highlight of my week.
That reminds me of when we were up at the Hartford Taste last year. They had one again this year. I went up there.
Oh,
okay. It was nice. But last year we were up there. The African American Alliance had a table up there last year, and the guy that came over.
Oh.
And he, well, she is a rock star, but you like the number one. You thought that the Queen of England was there. He was like, was he in tears?
I don't know what he was.
He was like, oh my, it's Miss. I mean, he was beyond ecstatic. He said, you saved his life.
That's what he said.
You saved his life. And he was just so happy to see you. And when you went to I think you went to go feed the meter.
Yes.
And he came back around and you weren't there. He stopped. He said she's gone. I said no, she's coming back. He said, well, I'm going to stop and just stay here just for a half a second, because even though she's not here, she's here, and I just want to just stop out of just honor to honor Miss Cleo. That woman, she saved my life, and he was. So you never know the impact you have on another person.
You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know. You just you just do the best you can. You just do the best you can. The one thing that I always knew when I worked in the soup kitchen, I always knew I worked for God.
Amen.
Because there's no way in the world I could have gotten to a soup kitchen and preached and did all of this without God, because it never even dawned on me to ever do anything like that. Never. It just happened. And then when it happened, I said, oh my goodness, Lord, what do you want me here for? Because I was, at first I was really nervous, but I fit, and I knew I fit. You ever been somewhere you say, I fit? Why do I fit here? Just like, when I was with the other group, the minister, the group of ministers, and I knew I didn't fit. But this time, I fit, and I said, I fit here. Why do I fit here? I don't know anything about this, but I fit. And it just came, and it just had to be the Lord, because I don't know how else that would have ever happened. And when they threatened me, they didn't. To close the soup kitchen in 99, because It didn't make any money, but I thought that was such a stupid thing to say. What soup kitchen makes money? But
we're not in this for the money. We're in this to help people.
yeah, so they gave me this note and this thing, and I was going down the state of office was on Constitution Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
I was going down the stairs from Constitution Plaza, and I looked at the note. I ripped it up, and I put it in the trash. I said, that's not going to happen until God says it's going to happen. And I went on to work 5 more years. So at that soup kitchen, I guess it took them that long. I don't know. But I knew I was leaving before they told me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Lord had already told me, Cleo, you got to go. And I said, nope. I'm going to stay here till I retire.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Cleo, you got to go. And I kept saying, no, I'm staying till I retire. So the day they called me to go see the director, I said, all right.
This is it.
This is it. So nothing actually was a surprise to me.
Uh-huh.
Nothing. And I stayed until the very last day, and didn't have a party or didn't have a farewell, didn't have anything for all those years. And they wanted to take me out to lunch.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want you to take me out to lunch. You're not taking me out to lunch. So anyway, I guess that was my stubbornness. But
So the farewell lunch.
the farewell lunch. I didn't want their farewell lunch. So anyway, it was over.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel it because it was with me for a long time
Mm-hmm.
that I knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went on, just like we all have to do. When one thing ends, you just
When one door closes,
keep on going.
you just you go on, don't look back, close the door, and just walk toward the next
Yes.
opportunity
Walk
or
toward the next one.
destination,
Yep.
because it is absolutely out there. Absolutely.
But don't forget to be silent and listen,
Mm-hmm.
so you'll walk in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just gotta be still
Mm-hmm.
and just listen and wait, which is very hard for human beings to do sometimes.
In the beginning, after a while, you learn how to wait, and you
Yes,
learn how to
yes.
listen, and you just sit and
Yeah,
relax,
it's all right.
and
Okay.
wait until you hear the right voice telling you
Yep.
to go.
All right.
And if you do that enough, you'll know what that voice is, and then you can walk and go with confidence.
My grandchildren laugh at me. Like,
Mhm.
people laugh at you when you say stuff like that, but it is so true.
Yep.
You learn
You'll learn.
as you live.
Sometimes you can't tell people. It's
No.
something they have to experience for themselves. And the only thing you can do is, let them learn. Some folk got to learn
Yeah.
the hard way. That's hot. Don't touch it.
Don't they? Say,
All
oh my
right, well, go ahead now.
But why do I have to see it? Why do I have to see it? Why do I have to be here and watch this foolishness and I can't fix it? So, that's another thing. You have to watch it, and you just, oh my goodness, close your eyes and not to
everything's not meant for you or us or somebody. Sometimes things have to take their normal, natural course,
Yes.
and then the reality is manifest. So, as they say, give people room to succeed or room to fail. But it's theirs to choose. You can warn folks. Sometimes people don't listen or heed the warning. So, my saying is they're grown. Grown folk make grown decisions, and they have to suffer grown consequences
absolutely
for those
sometimes
decisions.
it's hard to get out of the way, but I try.
Mm-hmm.
I try to get out of the way. Sometimes I always have the answer. Ha ha ha. And I'm saying, how many people suffered telling me this, that, and the other thing, and I was so pig-headed and strong. I just went on my way, And come to find out,
They were right.
of course they were. They were right, but it took me years. It took me years. But I don't want to. The people that I'm looking at, I don't want them to take years because I don't want to suffer that long.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to do something or move out of the ways because it's very, very. I gotta praise my father and I gotta praise my mother because I was probably after Inez's adolescence and her thing she did when she was young. I probably was the hardest hit.
Mm-hmm.
I was the hardest hit, and I didn't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
My father be coming over warning me about stuff. I said, he don't want me to do this for so long. It's not the right time, Cleo. It's not the right time. And I waited, and I said, I'm going to do it now. Do you know they never say anything? When you find out you're right or you find out you're wrong, my father never opened his mouth. He didn't say, I told you so. He didn't say anything. My mother didn't say anything. They just went on the next roller coaster ride with me. They never say anything. They just went on the next ride. That's all.
Well, whenever I'm wrong in front of the kids, I always let them know. X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third. I said, well, you were right. But I tell them that to encourage them so that they will know that they were indeed right with their thinking. And so I use my wrongness as a life lesson to teach them. So hopefully that'll translate. And, my daughter wrote me this one thing. It's under the desk here, where she came forth with how she broke this thing. I accidentally broke your plate. I had no intention of doing this. I can't read the rest of it because there's all kinds of stuff on it. But she wrote me this letter, this little note, and she left it here. This was a couple years ago. She broke a plate. No big thing. But she says, she will try and do whatever is necessary to make amends for the vine. I'm like, gee whiz. Bless her heart. Well, Miss Cleo, we're out of time.
Yes.
We're gonna go out today with the Vote for Stan song. The Vote for Stan. Did you see my shirt?
No.
This is the shirt here.
I got the old one. I know.
See?
Where?
Right here.
Oh. Oh.
Hartford Mayor.
Let me see. I didn't look in there because I can't see. Oh. Okay.
See. The 68. Hartford Mayor 68, and then on the back it says
McCauley 68. Oh.
Right. That's the 68th mayor
68th. Oh, I didn't know
of the city of Hartford. Right.
about
So 60 McCauley 68. Hartford Mayor's the team. All right, my friends, you all have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. All right, bye-bye.
Vote for Stan McCauley. It's our time. We gotta rise up and take it back. Vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah.
It's more than politics than just what your social covers. And it ain't somewhere written down in bold letters. Don't just take my word for it, do your research. Think of your future, look at your bigger picture. Shooting tie, clean up, unity for the righteous. Plotting on action, hands on access. With a light source vision, door to door knocking. Guerrilla style marketing, brainstorm as a collective. Real neighborhood suggestions. Only we know what it is where we living. To make real life decisions. Move on facts, make it manifest back.
You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Take a look around. Is opportunity flowing to your house? Are you working? Wait, can you save some money? And is your neighborhood safe? Or is it a homicide every night?
Senior. Many of you may know me as the two-time welterweight champion of the world. I'm here to tell you that Democrat J. Stan McCauley, as our next mayor, will fight for you until the last bell. Help me throw a knockout punch. Go out and vote for Stan the man.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I approve this message.